Now, I wasn't going to use this analogy, but I'm going to use it. I used to have a guy who was the greatest salesman I ever knew, and he sold insurance door to door. And he said, life is just a numbers game. I said, okay, Walter. And he said, I'm going to prove it to you. So we sat in his limousine, and he was wearing a long sable coat, fur coat. And he says, I'm going to ask every girl that comes by me, you want to fuck? And sooner than later, one's going to say yes. So I'm sitting back there drinking champagne. I see him spit on, slapped. A couple girls try to kick him in the nuts. The 17th woman, the 17th, as soon as she looked at her watch, I knew he had her. Yeah, I got a couple of hours, your place or mine. Life is a numbers game. And you guys and gals, historically, in the 28 and a half years that I've been doing this, give up too soon. The only guarantees in life, if you don't try and keep trying, you'll never succeed. You'll never succeed. And I've had no problem, because I didn't give a shit if anybody ever liked me, because I love myself. And as my wife would attest to, although my aunts and uncles that are pretty much dead now, in the late 90s and early 100s, while she met them, 10 or 15 years ago, Danny was always an angel. Now, I don't know what they were smoking, because I certainly wasn't an angel. But I never worried about it, because I've always had self-esteem. When I started coaching 28 and a half years ago, I thought that I would do, because I've always had the $1 trillion goal from when I started. I thought that I created $1 trillion with you meatheads, 5, 6, 10 years maximum. But I thought everybody had self-esteem. I didn't realize what a rare fucking commodity it is. And so it took me 24 and a half years, 25 years. I had no idea what a rare commodity. Good things come to those who go out and fucking earn it. My mother was a big prayer. It would happen. Now my success, according to her, is because of her prayers. Full disclosure. I would beg to differ at least a little with that, and since she's been dead a long time, I can get away with it. She's going to come back and smack me. But I came from 3 board meetings in Canada and in D.C. Before I was here. And these are successful people. The work ethic, or I should say the lack of work ethic, is astonishing. It's astonishing. And all that has happened, in my opinion, this is one man's opinion, with the corona, is that it has given us an excuse to work less and fuck around from home. We have a daughter who is a middle manager with a big, big company, and she says that's one of the problems they have. That's, because how do you make somebody that's working from home accountable? There's a thing called outcome management, which is going to be, I believe, the next wave. Netflix uses it, Siemens uses it, a lot of big companies. In other words, you have got to produce 100 sales or $1 billion, whatever, by next Wednesday. I don't give a fuck how you do it, but if not, you're gone. Adios, motherfucker. That is going to be the next tsunami. Net outcomes. And what are the employees? The girls are going to say, you fired me because I'm a girl. The minorities are going to say, you fired me because I'm a minority. But that's the next outcome, because it's the only way to control these masses of people. Now, it's not called stagflation. It's, when you resign, resignation, whatever it's called, people are resigning by the hordes. One, because we're right at the end of the government money. This time next year, there's not going to be any government money unless we start it all over again, and that will be a recipe for disaster. So we work less, so we want to get paid more. That model doesn't work. Now, you've probably been told this, but 50% of you will run out of money before you run out of time. In other words, you're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to run out of money before you die. Now, most of you in this room are so young, you don't give a shit. That doesn't affect me, but 2 or 3 of you aren't so young, and I'm sure you've already thought about it. Now, there is a theory why I'm one of the last Neanderthal alpha males on the planet. For those of you that probably know, was anybody alive in 1945? in this room other than me? No, okay. On the 6th and the 9th of August, 1945, in our infinite wisdom, we dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan to end the war so we didn't have to invade Japan and lose arguably millions. Now, we all know we're energy, we're atoms, okay? When we die and we disintegrate, we're going to the ground, blah, 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 okay. Well, the world changed with those two bombs. Not just those two bombs, because they had a bunch of atomic bombs before that. I was born the day after, the 10th of August. There was a theory amongst some of the meatheads, maybe not in this room, that the DNA of the world was changed along with me. You know how the movie Godzilla? He goes from a little fucking lizard to a big... Okay. There are people out there that actually believe that. Now, I'm not a believer in that, but I am an alpha male, and there's not many of us left. That's for sure. But I am different. You utilize the things that are for free on my site, you'll be different. There is zero competition. Zero. We added more people to the Hall of Fame during Corona than we ever had. Our closing ratio on doing deals is up 95%. We've got, to say that the kids are crushing it, whatever is beyond crushing it, and that's where we are. Whether I was born, in the, I'm a Godzilla too, it doesn't really matter. Now, because that's where I started. That was my house in the hood. I remember that picture. And I remember my neighbors and how we used to play in the LA River, which you weren't supposed to play in the LA River, with rats and shit, and we had no toys to speak of. We make shit out of the wood that we found out in the LA River. And that's from here to here, okay, which is a big quantum leap. That was where my house used to be. Between the chain link fence and that wall was my house. 600 square feet. They tore it down because it was a crack den or something. If I had known that, I would have bought the fucking thing so I could have kept it. But anyway, they tore it down. Now they have a house there. My wife said somebody bought that lot since then and built a house 4 stories up. She says, you lived in a goddamn lap of luxury. And I said, well, no, not really. But the house that's there now is owned by a Korean guy, nice guy. But that's where that house was. But I've had big goals and aspirations because I love myself a long, long time. I saw myself at Mount Rushmore when I started doing this 28 years ago. I saw myself compared to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle 28 years ago. Because I knew I didn't start doing this shit not to be the greatest of all time. It just took me a lot longer than I ever thought it would be. Because, again, back to self-esteem. That was my first Rolls Royce. I was 25 years old. I remember my monthly payments were $189 a month in 1971, and I paid $3,000 down payment. The car cost me $35,000. That's a lot of fucking money for a graduate student in a school that you got to explain about to come up with. But my sales manager was a defrocked, Bolt Hall, Berkeley lawyer named Kelly Norwood. And he said, a young boy like you ought to close every motherfucker that walks through the door, goddammit. You ought to be making $1 million a year. He's from Tennessee. Racist piece of shit that he was. But my closing ratio, while I was going to school, was 94.6%. Of every cocksucker that walked through the door. You were either bought or I beat you to death. Because he set standards. You don't know anybody that has ever closed almost 100%. But the standards he set, although he did it for devious reasons, I performed against. And that's the way I've always been. And other people, jobs, etc., perform the same way. Now, we're a 3 Rolls family. Sally got me another Rolls. Just what I need, like I need AIDS. Okay? The one on the left is the 4x4 Rolls Royce. The one in the middle is the Phantom, looks like the Queen's. And the one on the right is Sally's convertible. I don't drive, haven't driven in 25 years. But Sally continues to buy me cars. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. But from that clapwood house in the hood, I've come a long way. And I've got many, many stories, a few in this room. And whether I decide to introduce you or not, we'll see. It's not that, it's hard, but it's not impossible. It's hard, but not impossible. Now, One of my goals when I started this, actually before, I wanted, because Andrew Carnegie is my financial virtual mentor and Winston Churchill is my political virtual mentor, I wanted an estate like Skibo Castle. Now, even the stupidest monkey in the room can see there is a resemblance between Andrew Carnegie's place and mine. Is that by accident? I had affirmations. I still say my prayers and affirmations every fucking night. This shit's for real. If you want it bad enough and you're willing to pay the price for action. Guthrie estate is nicer than his estate. But anyway, I saw myself like this way before I had a dime. Way before I had any money. I saw myself as a country gentleman. And there's no such a thing as a country gentleman. It's a filthy job. Farming, all that's a filthy job. I found out the hard way. But anyway, I saw myself strutting around with my Great Dane there. This painting by Howard Morgan, God rest his soul, he's dead now. But I told him this painting would make him famous. He went on to paint Gorbachev, the Queen, blah, 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 blah. What do you see when you look in the mirror, other than the flabby, whatever you see? And this is how we live now. Sally and I have been married 7 times. 7. Thank you, dear. We've been married at the North Pole and the South Pole. That's why we're bipolar. And we've been married 2 or 3 other places. And we both said just recently, she says she's poorer than me, so I'm not going to argue with her right here. We've been poor and we've been rich. And we rather than be poor again. I take a cyanide pill just like Hitler and those guys did. Easy. That ain't never going to happen to me again. No fucking way. And when you've seen the difference, you've lived the difference. I mean, I can see, I'm not justifying or suggesting this in any way, but you see rich movie stars and they go from the penthouse to the shit house and then they kill themselves. I can relate to that. Oh, there we are. I got the polls out of sync. By the way, just a couple of sentences about climate change. There are 11 exploratory expeditions that have been to the North and South Pole. 11. 10 of them are dead. My wife and I are number 11. You talk about global warming at the South Pole, they start laughing. What are you, stupid, sir? Now, in North Pole, it's a Russian deal. So, I mean, we were going through an interpreter. They're crazy scientist guys with freak hairdos like this and running around in boxer shorts and flip-flops 40 below zero. And they were showing us cores that they had taken. It was about 5,000 to 5,500 cores because not many people know the South Pole's on a mountaintop, okay? So you suffer from oxygen deprivation, about 10, 11, 12, 13,000 feet, equivalent thereof. And he's going through and he says, in 55,000 years ago, it was 2.7 degrees Celsius warmer than now. And wait. So let's go back to that core. 55,000 years ago. Are you sure? Or plus or minus 1/1,000,000%. Okay, that's good enough for government work. So 55,000 years ago, it was 2.8 degrees Celsius warmer than today. Absolutely. Who knows this? Any scientist on the planet knows it. Why does Obama buy a house that is 150 meters from the water's edge? He's a smart guy. His big mansion he bought in Hawaii. If global warming is for real, why does Vice President Gore buy a house 50 feet from the fucking water? And I can go on and on and on. Why are they allowing people to still build on the east coast of Florida? It's going to be gone. Why are they still building in Manhattan? If we lost Manhattan, I wouldn't cry too much about it. But anyway, because I have 3 million pores in my body. And I've been fucked in every one of them at least twice, mostly in Manhattan. Why? Because I've said it before. I've said it on a TV interview that's coming out pretty soon. There is a scientific cure to climate change in the offing. Scientific. They've been working on it 15, 20 years. Scientific. It's got nothing to do with aerosol fucking spray. It's got nothing to do with ozone shit, nothing. It's a scientific cure. They're going to do something to the atmosphere. I don't know what. But my wife and I were at the Pentagon the day before yesterday. We didn't see any of you. I can't tell you why we were there. But I saw the new space agency, Space Air, whatever it's called. Yes, exactly. Nobody in it. They must have been hiding them all. I was looking for the head of the Joint Chiefs, the guy that they put makeup on and make fun of I couldn't find him either. He was getting his hair done. But, no, that's not true. Okay. But, scientific. Remember where you heard it. Remember where you heard it. But success leaves clues. Obama, why is he buying, God bless him, he's got $48 million to spend, but I mean, why is he buying it? I mean, he can throw a baseball into the water from his new house. Because it's all a load of fucking shit. That's why. It's for the meat. There's a sub-meathead. You're my flocks, you're my meatheads. But there are guys even dumber than you.